that means it's Tuesday Tech Talk. I'm Crystina Clauson. I'll be your navigator down the river of tech today. So let's go through what we're going to talk about. Oh, well, first, I suppose. Here we go. So today is Tech 101, showcasing catering on your website. This is going to be the basics of catering on your website, and this goes pretty close to our allotted time. We usually like a half an hour for presentation, half an hour for questions. So we'll actually move to a more complex and in-depth version of a lot of these topics in our talk next month. So today, just going to go through some very basic catering information on your website. So I always include this page in the deck. These are the software that I am most familiar with. There are other software that I am familiar with, or if you have projects that you need help with, I'm not limited to these. However, at CaterLinked, we really do want to make sure that you're successful in your catering endeavors. So if you have any of these softwares, you're like, I am just stumped at how to build something in Monkey, how to build something in Aloha, my Microsoft integration, my Micros integration with Punch, feel free to reach out. I'm on CaterLinked almost every single day. We're here to help. We're here to grow your knowledge. So please, please feel free to reach out. I would be happy to help. All right, so let's get into it, you guys. Today we're going to talk about catering online success, what to put on your website and why. Now you may say, Christina, I don't put together my website. I got a guy for that. Here's the thing though, is the person putting together your website, super familiar with websites, understands, what an anchor link is, what, SEO, all of these pieces of jargon that you may not be familiar with. But what are you familiar with? You're familiar with catering in your restaurant. You're familiar with your customers, what questions they have, what information they need. So what I'm hoping to help you accomplish with this video is if there is somebody that's doing your website, you can have an informed conversation with them. You can say, you know what? I want to put up a banner ad on our website for our catering. I want to put a call to action in our carousel. So let's talk about those things today so that you can get specifically what you want on your website by being able to speak some light jargon with regards to technology in your website. So as we do with all of our tech talks, first thing we're going to do is go through vocabulary. I'm going to go through it super quick. I'm very bad at alphabetical order, so you'll see it's a little backwards on this particular slide. Nobody's perfect. So first thing is crawlers. Crawlers are programs or bots that look through your website specifically to find like keywords. So if somebody's searching on Google or Bing for your restaurant, or for a restaurant that offers, for example, broccoli cheese soup, that your restaurant, if you offer broccoli cheese soup, is more likely to come up because it's found in your website somewhere. So they search your website. They also call that scrubbing. They also call that scraping. So you may hear those terms. They just mean that it's searching your website. A banner is an advertisement at the top of your website. Obviously, we'll go through that a little bit later. Carousels are pictures on your website that rotate at regular intervals so that you can promote several things at the same time. A hamburger menu. This isn't a menu for hamburgers, but it could be that if you're a hamburger joint. But this is just a functionality of navigation, often used with mobile ordering or with mobile websites. Hero image. This is a big image on the website's homepage or on a landing page. And your homepage is the main page for a website. That's generally whatever's between www and .com. So www.caterlinked.com. CaterLinked, that's probably the homepage. It's not always the case, but it's generally the case. And an HTML menu is a restaurant menu that is embedded in your website. Don't worry, I'll talk more about that later. A landing page is a page that's set up for a specific purpose, often not navigatable. Sometimes they are. So this is a website a website page that you're setting up for a specific reason. So this could be moms, dads, and grads. It could be a sweepstakes, something like that. something that isn't like a normal page of your website. It can be, but I would just think about it as like a special use page. Local SEO. This is something that you work with in Google to refine to make your restaurant more visible to people who are nearby. A PDF menu is a restaurant menu that can be downloaded to either look at offline or to print. A pop-up box, I'm sure you guys are all aware of what those are. They pop up when somebody visits your website. You can program those on your website. A ribbon menu, this is the navigation that you're most familiar with. It's all of those links at the top of a page. That's called a ribbon menu. Sitemap is, it's actually usually a standard part of your website. It just tells Google and Bing what the structure of your website is. And a slug. A slug is the after the .com part of your website. So generally, your menu would be at, www.yourwebsite.com/menu. So the /menu would be the slug for your menu. All right. Vocabulary down. Let's get into the meat of it. So first of all, let's talk about what your goals are, the things that you're trying to accomplish with your website. The list that I have here, not exhaustive, may not meet your needs, but the thing is, you know what your needs are. So the purpose of this slide is to get you thinking about what you're trying to accomplish. If you know where that customer is supposed to go or what information they're supposed to get, then you'll understand their journey a little bit more in order to get to that place. It's making sure that their boats are pointed in the correct direction. So here are some things that you may want to do with your website. Inform people that you offer catering. Outline what you offer. So what food you offer, what drinks and beverages you offer, what event types that you manage, maybe what venues you partner with, that kind of thing. Tell people how to order catering. If they have to call somebody, if they can order online, if they fill out a form, or if they need to email somebody. So tell them how to order catering. And you may even want to allow people to order catering from your website. If you can build very simple packages that people can just click and order and they know how many people they're feeding, that's pretty straightforward. You can offer some of that. Under no circumstances do you have to do that, but it is something to consider. Also, make sure you're providing contact information. Make sure it is everywhere on your website. You could put it as part of your banner, call us to talk to somebody about catering, for example. So just make sure that you have your contact information often on your website. So why? Why the heck do you want to put your catering stuff on your website? If you're on CaterLinked, hopefully you're very passionate about catering, so you want everybody to know about how awesome your catering options are. But let's talk through some of the reasons why, to sort of think about what you may want to offer, what information you may want to provide on the website. So firstly, most importantly, if you don't tell them that you have catering, they don't know. People aren't mind readers. A lot of people aren't going to step in your restaurant to see if you have catering. They're just going to go to your website and check. And what I would do too, as a side note to that, is assume everybody that comes to your website is new to your brand. Don't have really specific niche language on your website, especially with like your menu options. Put catering on top. Don't put like, feeding Bob's friends or something. Make sure that it's clearly defined what people are looking for. And the verbiage for descriptions for menu items and that kind of stuff, absolutely go wild with your branding voice, but just be cautious of using that voice in your in these sort of general parts of your website. But make sure that they know that it's catering. Add catering, make sure it's catering, and not just big to-go orders, because it can be very confusing for customers. Also, other restaurants put their catering information on their websites. So if you don't put your catering information on your website, then you are already behind the curve. People may assume that you don't offer catering if they can't see that on your website. So make sure that you put it there because they'll assume that you don't offer it. Not everybody is going to come into your restaurant. There are some stats about like regular to go online ordering where, you know, as much as like 85% of traffic to your website could be people who haven't come into your restaurant. So make sure that you are trying to capture those new guests who may not know. Also, Sales 101. In my sales class when I was in high school, there is, you know, a section of the population that you always have to take into consideration who gathers information before they make a decision. They are not going to make an impulse decision with purchasing. They will use thought and research to understand what it is that they're looking for and make an informed buying decision. When I was on the brand side, you know, we would leave at night, go home. You know, somebody was always working until the stores closed, so like 9, 10 o'clock at night. Between 10 o'clock at night when we left, you know, to go home, or, you know, the stores closed, so we stopped being online to support them. And when we got to the office in the morning, we would have 6 or 7 large orders that people put in overnight. And a lot of times they were business lunches that the office manager just got around to it after hours, you know, or birthday celebrations that people had looked at overnight and decided to order. So having those things available after hours is really important for people's buying decisions. Also, this is going to probably be some passive orders, in so much that you didn't have to work hard for them. You put all the information online and all you had to do was make the food. And no hard sales pitch, no, you know, deep cutting discounts in order to get somebody to order from you. They saw what you had, they liked it, and they moved forward with it. So how do you make this happen? In order to make this happen, there's sort of 3 different things that you should consider on your website. Number 1 is calls to action via different tools that are available. And if you don't handle your website, these are things that you want to talk to your webmaster about. So having a category for catering in your hamburger menu or in your ribbon menu, those are the main navigations for a website. So you're going to either have one or the other, or you may have different one for mobile versus desktop. So a lot of times a hamburger menu is built for mobile ordering or mobile navigation. Also, an image in the carousel or a hero image on your homepage or landing page for catering. And we'll talk a little bit more about this in the next slide. Also adding a banner at the top of your website or a pop-up box to sort of inform people what you have, making it stand out. Also, you want to have a robust catering page. This is going to be the meat of your website in regards to catering. So again, include contact information, always include contact information, outline your general catering services, and provide detailed information. So if you have, if you have pickup, delivery, curbside, and people can order those particular pickup or handoff types via your online ordering, let them know that they can do that. If you have particular logic with delivery, like first 10 miles are free, every mile over that is $2, for example, make sure that you let them know that that's the case. Also, let them know anything that makes you stand out. If you do an ice cream sundae bar, if you have a food truck that people can rent for events, talk all of that stuff up. Tell them all of the coolest things about your catering program that they may not know. And also pictures. Include pictures, candid pictures of events that you've done in the past. Help people understand and visualize what you will offer in their space. Help romanticize the image for them of how cool their event will be if they offer your food. And lastly, menus. An HTML menu, PDF menu, and if you have online ordering for catering, offering that as well. And again, we'll go a little bit more depth into these. So first, calls to action. Here are the tools on your website that you can use for a call to action. navigation links in your hamburger menu, your ribbon menu, a carousel category. So a carousel, as I mentioned, is a large image on your website, and it rotates through. So you usually do between 3 and 5 different pictures of things that you're promoting. So maybe you're promoting Father's Day buffet, maybe you're promoting graduation catering, you know, having those cycle through. The difference between a carousel and a hero image is a hero image is you just promoting one thing on your website rather than promoting between 3 and 5 things. So it's just a static image rather than a dynamic carousel. Now, the reason why you would pick a hero image over a carousel is usually if you have one really big thing coming up and you really want to focus your efforts on promoting that one thing. Or sometimes the carousels with the pictures rotating can use a little bit more traffic. So it could make the website take a little bit longer to load, or it could load very slowly depending on the connection the person has. So sometimes if situation isn't ideal, the carousels might be just a little not as smooth as they would normally be. And a banner appears at the top of your website. It's just a static banner that people can usually click on to go to another place. And a pop-up box. You guys are familiar with pop-up boxes. So I just wanted to, just in case websites are new to you, show you sort of what I'm talking about here on this next slide. So if you look on the left-hand side of this image, that top teal tab is showing you a banner advertisement. On a lot of websites, you can adjust like the height of the banner, the color of the banner. And also a really cool thing is when they click on it, you control where they go. So you can send them to your catering site. You can say, you know, we just started offering online ordering for catering. Then you can click on that and send them directly to your online ordering link. So a lot of really cool things that you can do with that. And then the second tab on the left is pointing to the ribbon menu. And this is the menu that a lot of you guys are familiar with. Most websites use a ribbon menu. But if you go over to the right-hand side on the Swagger website, if you look at those 3 lines there on the left-hand side of that picture, that's actually called a hamburger menu. So when you click on that, it expands out, or explodes is a word that they also use, to show you all of the different categories that are available. Going back to the left-hand picture, that bottom little tabby is showing you either a hero image if it's static or a carousel if it's dynamic. So just to give you guys an idea, if you're not familiar with the verbiage, I think pictures sometimes help with that. So those are the tools that you would use, but make sure that you're using a call to action. So call to action is telling people what they can do. They may not know that they can click on the pictures that are inside of a carousel, but most of the time with a hero image or carousel, you can program links to other pages on your website. Or sometimes you can link to the file to download your catering menu, for example. So make sure that you're telling people what they can do, because not all websites will have that programming, but that programming is usually pretty universally available when you're building a website. So some calls to action. We now offer catering. Click here to learn more. Order now. Order catering here. Download our catering menu here. Pre-order your holiday catering order now. So just some ways like using now, using here, click, learn more, using the arrows to show people that there's some action associated with whatever element that you're using. Just a way to think about it. Remember, always have a call to action whenever possible. So with those pictures that are your hero image or the carousel, you can actually build that call to action inside the picture itself. So you can modify those pictures to like add text as you saw in the last slide, but also you can add your own banner at the bottom just to say like, click here to learn more. for example. So lots of different ways that you can do it, but just whenever possible, make sure that you're using a call to action. So let's talk about your catering landing page. Again, people don't know that you offer catering or what you offer for catering unless you let them know. So firstly, talk about your services. If you offer delivery and setup or setup and tear down or full service or, like an attended buffet, something like that, make sure that they're aware of those things, and offer instructions. So if you have a section about, for example, a buffet, how do they order that? Do they have to order it through a CSM? Like, contact our catering sales managers for more information, for example. So just give them all of the information that you can. Tell them what's included. If you include cups and silverware and plates, or cloth napkins, or table coverings, let them know that you offer those. Also include other information. Do you offer a la carte chafing dishes and sternos? Do you have carving stations? Do you have bartenders with a full bar or with beer and wine? Do you do midnight snack deliveries for hospitals or for weddings? Let them know all of those cool things that set you apart from your competition, because those are the things that'll stick in their brain and go, it's actually kind of cool if they're using that. Even if it's not something that they need for this particular event, it helps you stand out in their minds. Also, again, candid event photos, let them know what it looks like, help them visualize that. And again, contact information. So if they can order online, put a link to your online ordering. If they have to contact a catering sales manager, have a link in there. On most websites, you can do a mail to link. So if you click on that, it'll open an email, or you can have it open a form to contact your team, give them a phone number, let them know when you're answering the phone or how long it takes for you to respond to those emails. Set that expectation often with your potential customers. But the catering landing page is going to probably be one of your most important tools in your arsenal to make sure that your customers know how cool your catering is. So let's talk about menus real quick. If you have questions about how to build your menus online, or what menu logic looks like, we did another T-cubed session a few months ago to sort of talk about menu logic. So feel free to check that out. So we're not going to go super in depth into menus on this slide. So there are 3 menus that you should have on your website. Your HTML menu, and that allows browsers to crawl through your menu to look for keywords. So if they're looking for broccoli cheese soup, and you offer broccoli cheese soup, it's going to increase your likelihood for them to see your website in their search. PDF is something that allows people to download your menu to do further research. And this is sort of a done not perfect situation. If you can't, at least at first, cultivate the perfect, printable PDF menu online, you can just use whatever file you have. Let's say that you have a catering trifold menu. You can use that on your website as a downloadable PDF. A lot of businesses do that. And there are arguments, right, about HTML, changing all of the pricing online, changing it on PDF, changing it on HTML is really cumbersome and time consuming. What I would say is, you don't necessarily have to put your pricing on your HTML if it's not something that's going to set you up for success. What we're looking for is those crawlers that are scraping your website, is to find those keywords like broccoli cheese soup or taco buffet bar, those kinds of things. So those words. So you can set up your menu and you can say, download a PDF or contact a CSM for pricing information. Or, let's say you say, Christina, I have 5 different locations and they have 5 different pricing structures. Feel free to build out location pages for each one of your restaurants and include that PDF on their location page. When we go more into depth on the website information, we can talk through that. I'd be happy to do that. But make sure that you have something that they can download I would recommend if you're doing PDF, PDF should have pricing, just because this is sort of part of that contingent of the population and their process. So PDF's a good idea to have pricing. You can use your print file for something that you are already having printed. Online ordering, obviously this is a way for people to manage more straightforward caterings. We've got 25 people coming and we're just going to need a pasta bar for these 25 people. You have them do like 3 or 4 different choices with, an appetizer, a salad, and a dessert. Bob's your uncle. Online ordering is done. So your next question may be, well, Christina, if I have online ordering, I think it's sort of pointless to have an HTML menu. So there's a couple of reasons why I would argue you should have both. Number one is if you talk to anybody in your marketing team, they are obsessed, or should be obsessed, with the abandonment rate on your online ordering. Abandonment rate is a benchmark that marketers use to understand how effective online ordering is. And the higher an abandoned basket rate is, the less effective they feel online ordering is. Now, what's an abandoned basket? An abandoned basket is somebody that has gone to your online ordering menu and they didn't order anything. So marketing tries different things. They'll do A/B testing. They'll try different pictures. They'll try different wording to see what they can do to improve or decrease that abandonment rate. So if you don't have an HTML menu, people are going to go to your online ordering menu to try and find information out about your menu. So that you not having an HTML menu artificially inflates that information or that abandonment rate, because a lot of those people have no intention of ordering right now. They're going to come back later. So having an HTML menu gives your marketing team a more accurate representation of the number of people that are traveling to your online ordering and not actually ordering. Another thing is that oftentimes your online ordering page actually exists on your online ordering provider's website, because then they can control security, they can control the checkout. So all that happens is people go from online ordering to somebody else's website altogether. So you lose all of that scraping information that Google and Bing's crawlers are going to do. They're not going to find those cool keywords that would normally be on your HTML menu because they don't exist on your website at all. So having all 3 of these menus is a really, really good idea. Awesome. So just want to go through real quick the things that we're going to offer, or that we'll be covering in part 2, where we'll get a little more in depth. So we'll cover some of the things we've already covered, but get a little more granular with it. But also we're going to talk about separating online ordering for catering and to-go, why you should keep those separate, so the pros and cons are, and how you can do that. And also keeping things on your website in one place so you don't have to change them in multiple areas by using anchor text and links. So what this is like, if you have pricing in 7 different places on your website, or your delivery fees in multiple different places, when you change them, not if, because you will eventually change them, you have to remember to go to all of those places. And if you don't, then chances are you'll be offering deep, deep discounts to the people who found that web page that you didn't end up changing. Also, your web page is super important. Make sure that your address, hours of operation, and contact information are on your website. Those are basic things that you should have on your website in addition to your menus. Your Google business profile is just as important for local SEO. We'll talk through how to get into your Google business profile if you haven't already, what things to pay attention to for local SEO. We'll talk more in depth about what local SEO is and why it's important. Also, as an aside, we talk a lot about Google, but consider making sure that your information is updated in Bing as well, and we can go through that too. Bing represents about 10% of internet traffic and search traffic, so it is a good place to make sure that you've got your information updated. And also we'll verify that I'll show you how to verify Google has your sitemap. It's automatic. but it's one of those things that sometimes doesn't work. So we'll talk through that. And also, before we end with questions, I just want to let you guys know that I'm in the process of building out something called imaginarybrunchrestaurant.com. So this is a place just to show you, if you're handling your website yourself, sort of what to include, what pieces are necessary, and just to give you an idea of what a standard restaurant website should look like. This is not a real restaurant. It is an imaginary restaurant, so you can't order the food, but it's just to give you guys an idea of sort of how to walk through having a website for a restaurant if it's something that you have to manage yourself. And with that, thank you for talking with me today about your website, and we will answer any questions you guys have. There are any. All right, just updated it, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. We'll give you guys a couple minutes because we just turned it on. All right. Well, it looks like we do not have any questions today, which is amazing. If you guys have any questions that you'd like answered when we go more in depth in part 2, please feel free to let me know on Caterlinked. Again, my name is Crystina Clauson. I'm on Caterlinked almost every day. I'm one of your coaches. So definitely feel free if there's something that you'd like to explore in depth on part 2. Otherwise, I hope that you have a fabulous day.